This is Jerod Lakefield, a novel by Don Fensler, Part 4. Jerod Lakefield, Part 4. Aura. Let me get back to basketball. All parts of his game were fucking solid, but there were two things that set him apart, that made him magical. His outside shooting ability and his defense. His shot was extraordinary. You could tell he greatly preferred to move to his right. If the right was shut off, he looked around, mildly fucking peeved and frustrated. Jerod did not have the demeanor to actually look that peeved or frustrated. He had too much of a cherubic, fuckingly nice white boy aura about him. He would pass the ball off, then get the ball back from beyond the key, look again, looking for an opening to the right. He handled his frustration very fucking maturely, finding a solution in a fucking calm, mature way. And the solution always eventually came, and he would lean to the right and shoot the ball from above the right side of his forehead, and it went in almost always. I'm not talking about 52% of the time or 58%. I'm talking close to 70% of the time. You would think it was luck when he hit 3 in a row from outside, but finally you saw that it wasn't luck. The 70% was when he was well covered. When he had an open shot, he made a fucking 100% of them. But remember, this is only practice, only fucking practice. Don't let us get ahead of ourselves yet. The 70% was just in practice. It seemed like it would get boring, but every shot he made was even more amazing than the last. The twist to the right, the quick flick of the wrist, and the ball would be in the basket. Sometimes with a high arc, like a fucking ICBM Cuban Missile Crisis being fired at Russia. Sometimes Jerod's shot was as fat as a fucking Clayton Kershaw fastball. He seemed to see the center of the basket right against his eyes. There was this silence amongst his teammates after he made a shot. We loved him already. We hardly knew him, hardly had gotten over hating him for being so fucking cute and cherubic. But we feared him while we loved him for being so much cooler and fucking calmer than us. Where did he come from? Why was he at this school, St. Cloud State, in the middle of nowhere? I thought all cool people lived in New York or Beverly Hills with a couple fucking maybe living in Miami or Phoenix, New Mexico. Again, this is all in practice. We wondered if he could do this in games or if the magic would fucking disappear in front of the crowds, the cheering and the jeering, and the assholes with season tickets whose wives hadn't had relations with them in decades, so they got their jollies by watching college boys in baggy pants, either cheering or jeering you, but fucking creeping you out. It didn't matter if they were cheering or jeering. We wondered about this. There are 1,000 great practice players for every true star. All this practice razzle-dazzle meant everything to us who had witnessed it, but it meant nothing outside of St. Cloud State Gym. He had to do it in a game. He fucking had to do it for real, saith me, a wise and fucking wonderful basketball coach. First game. Jerod Lakefield's first game was played before a crowd of 827 people, if you count the people working in the concession stand, the cheerleaders, and the titmice copulating under the bleachers. The Cloud State Fieldhouse holds 5,700 people. No one cared. It was a pointless fucking game against Minnesota Tech College. The game was not on the radio. There were no newspapers that cared then. We would call in the score after the game, and it would be in the paper as we stated it, probably with 3 or 4 names misspelled, and no one caring in the fucking least. The game started. Jerod took the first shot in the game, an air ball. A fucking air ball. Jerod's first shot of his career was a fucking air ball. It didn't bother him. It bothered me. I was fucking seething like Mount Vesuvius in the springtime about Jerod Lakefield's first shot. I suddenly was mad that this walk-on, so impressive in practice, was going to be a fucking bust. This was an impulse feeling. I felt it in my fucking bones. That air ball made me hate his guts. What nerve for this walk-on. Only good in practice would be to take a shot and then have it be an air ball. What nerve to do something like that. I wanted to bench him right there and send him back to fucking Tulsa, Kansas, or wherever he was from. I can be pretty fucking impulsive at times. It's part of my charm. About 3 minutes into the game, he took the second shot, a 22-footer that missed, but was close. It was close, but I hated him even more. I wanted him on the bench and fucking dead. Next shot he took and missed, he would be on the bench. I swore on my mother's grave, even though she wasn't dead yet. We were behind at this time, fucking 8-1. But then 5 minutes into the game, Jerod Lakefield hit a 17-footer, then a 22-footer. He got fouled, made 2 free throws. He stole a ball. He passed off. Our wing got a layup. Jerod Lakefield stole it again, pulled up from 25 feet when he was 1-on-3 and hit the shot. I think he missed one, then hit 2 more. These were all long shots, more than 15 feet away. It was like there was a fucking but the weird thing is, it seemed like there were fucking crocodiles in the lane or anywhere near the basket. He would not go into that lane for fear of being eaten by the fucking crocodiles, it seemed. He would shoot at it from long distance, but shoot no layups. It was like fucking Jerod Lakefield was saying, what is the point of shooting layups? There are sharp elbows and fucking hard as granite knees under there. Jerod absolutely fucking detested crowds, that was clear, even in a basketball game. Again, I was trying to imagine Jerod Lakefield's thought. I was seeing something fucking amazing before my eyes. It was not of this fucking earth. He came from being the worst basketball player on earth in my discerning rational eyes to the greatest I had ever seen in a span of 7 minutes. Again, my fucking impulsiveness was rearing its goddamn delightful precious head. By halftime, he was 10 for fucking 15 from the field and 6 for 6 from the free throw line. What the fucking was happening before my fucking eyes? He had hit 4 3-pointers, so he had 30 points in one fucking half. One fucking 20-minute period. We were ahead 43-26. Jerod Lakefield had 30 points, 4 assists, 5 steals, and Minnesota Tech was a basket case. I was a fucking basket case. The 850 people and copulating titmice in the crowd were all basket cases. We could not believe it. We reached for our cell phones. We wanted to tell someone what we were seeing. We wanted to tell someone, but we told no one. We laid our phones down, stuffed them right in our fanny packs for fear we would fucking miss something, that we would miss it, the beginning.